Chair Danielson, we're good to proceed.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Algonquin Highlands Committee of Adjustment meeting for Friday, December the 11th. I would ask the members if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof today. Hearing none, for those who are present from the public, my name is Liz Danielson. I'm the chair of the committee and your deputy mayor. And our members include Julie Shortreed, who's a member of council, John Rogers, public member, Chris Woods, public member. We have Sean O'Callaghan, our planner, and Greg Moore, our building inspector. We have one more member of the committee who is absent today, whose name is Gary Trapp. So we will move on to items of business. Just for the committee's information, because the minutes of October the 23rd were not included in your package, we'll defer approval of those minutes until our meeting in January, if that's all right with everyone. So we'll move into first business arising from the previous meeting, and that application is by McGlade on Kawagama Lake. So if we could hear a report from the planner.
Yes, so as the committee will recall, this application was originally presented to the committee back in October, where the committee decided to defer the application pending further information regarding tree removal and the location of the boatport structure. The agent for the applicant has submitted a revised site plan, as well as some pictures identifying some trees that would remain, as well as some that would be removed, as well as identifying that on the revised site plan. They've also removed one of the variances required by reducing the proposed size of the storage shed down to 108 square feet. So they will still require two minor variances, one being to permit the increase in the maximum projection of a boat port into the water from 8 meters to 12.19 meters. As well as from section 4.2.9G of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 4.5 meters to 0 meters for the purposes of constructing that utility shed. Staff are recommending approval of the first minor variance, being to allow the increased projection of the boat port, but staff still have concerns with the proposed reduction in setback for the utility shed.
We will see if there are questions from the committee to our planner, and then hear comments from the applicant or anyone who wants to speak to the application. The one thing that does concern me still about this application is that there doesn't seem to be any difference in the location of the structure. One of the things that I had been looking for was for the structure to actually or possibly be much closer to the existing dock and or in the same location as the existing dock, so we don't have the devastation to the shoreline and any of the large trees removed in that area. But we'll look to the committee for questions or comments, and then we'll hear from the applicant. Any comments or questions from the committee at this point? Okay, if I'm sure there's someone here to speak to this application. Could you identify yourself?
We're just bringing them in, Liz.
Okay.
Oh, you're on mute, Dan.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Could you identify yourself and your association with the application?
Yes, Dan Christian, Creative Design and Engineering, designer of the project. I know there was some questions about the trees, so I went out and had a look. There's a picture in the package that Sean sent that indicates where the location of the large trees are, and you can actually see that it's the large trees are to the right of the existing pathway, and the existing pathway is at an angle to the property. So the actual, where the actual boathouse is going to be is to the left of these large trees. So there won't be any removal of any of the large trees. There's some minor shrubs and stuff that just where the pathway is going to be, would be removed, but that's minor. The rest of the existing property will be brought back to natural. The client's daughter is I believe she's in forestry, so she has an interest in preserving the forest and revegetating the property. So it's definitely not their intent to remove any of the large trees. We decreased the size of the shed on the dock, on the dock. You've been to the property, it's a bit of a hill to climb up to the top of that to bring canoes and kayaks and equipment on a daily basis. I also looked around at some of the other boathouses in the neighborhood, and there's at least 2 of them that have exactly the same type of thing with a shed on their dock. So it is kind of something that people are doing and require. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there questions from the committee?
Through you, Madam Chair. Mr. Christen, I'm not sure if you were hearing the original report today, but it's essentially the same provisions, recommendations that the variance for the boat structure into the water is approved, but still denying it. There's also a comment made that maybe the boat structure could be shifted more to the where the existing dock is. Is that a possibility to move it further along the shoreline?
And the reason to move it would be, why would you need it moved?
Less disruption of the shoreline.
It's probably going to be the same amount of disruption if you move it even at 5 feet. It's still going to be the same because it's the same footprint. There isn't any disruption from the large trees that are there. If you can see from when you're on the property, you can see that those trees are not going to be removed. I think it's just, there was a misunderstanding from when you look at the site plan, you're thinking that trees are being removed, but they're not. So moving at 5 feet, we could move it 5 feet, but it's really, it isn't going to change anything. The same trees are still staying there.
Okay, thank you. The second question was, I'm still trying to gauge what the storage structure is actually going to be used for. What are you, when you made your comments, you talked about kayaks and those sort of things being stored there, but I don't think that doesn't look to me like it could handle kayaks or canoes or
your typical lakeshore type stuff, paddles, life jackets,
yeah,
the typical kind of stuff you have stored for the waterfront.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay, hearing none, we will, could I have a mover and a seconder to put the resolution on the floor? Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by, this is not to suggest you're voting in approval. It's only
I'll second it to get it on the floor.
Thank you, John.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby partially grants minor variance application age MB 2220 to seek relief from section 4.2.9F of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum projection of a boat port into the water from 8 meters to 12.19 meters for the purpose of constructing a 469.1 square foot boat port. And further, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby partially refuses minor variance application AHMB 22/20 to seek relief from section 4.2.9G of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 4.5 meters to 0 meters for the purpose of constructing a 108 square foot utility shed. John Rogers, yea or nay?
I'd like an opportunity to maybe comment on this first, if we could.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm having a lot of difficulty. I'd say the first part, the structure is fine. I'm having a lot of difficulty with respect to the storage facility and the fact that we're refusing that. I understand, and I had asked Sean earlier this week about whether he was changing his view because the size has been reduced, but he's not prepared to do that. I am very much in favor of supporting planning opinions and planning reports. So this is difficult for me to actually comment this way on this, but it seems to me that if these folks don't have the storage capabilities there, that is part of the structure, that there's going to be a lot of things left on the dock. It'll not encourage a neat and tidy appearance of that structure, because knowing kids, they just will leave the life jackets on the dock. They'll leave paddles there, that sort of thing. So the design makes it look like it could be make it a much more neat and tidy type of structure that is there. So I'm having difficulty in not approving that storage structure. And at the same time, I understand Sean's position totally, that there is space on this property that would allow a structure up the hill and far enough back from the shoreline to meet the requirements of the zoning bylaw. So I'm just having difficulty. I'm still trying to decide how I might vote on this.
I'm wondering if it would help for us to, is it possible, Sean, to separate the two parts of the resolution that you've got and have two resolutions? If a member is agreeing with one part of the resolution and not with another, how do you vote?
I guess this resolution would need to be refused and a new resolution presented, either supporting both minor variances or denying both minor variances, or some combination thereof.
Or another alternative, Madam Chair, is potentially, I shouldn't say quite, it makes it sound as though I've got my mind really made up on this, but I am prepared to move an amendment to the current motions, changing the second part of the motion from refusal to approval of the storage facility being permitted within the with the setbacks as shown.
I think I need to ask the other members of the committee what their feelings are on that. Let's go with Chris first.
Sorry, I'm unmuting. I agree totally. I would be voting for the minor variance 1, and I would be opposed to the storage shed being refused. So I am exactly the same feeling. That storage shed should be approved.
Julie,
I'm going with Sean's recommendation.
okay, we're going to, I think because I'm not going to vote in support of the resolution, and unfortunately, we're missing a member today. So I think what we'll need to do is to, I guess, I'm not quite sure about process here, but refuse the resolution or ask that the resolution be amended and split out into two parts, that we can approve the dock and its extension into the water, and then deal with the shed as a separate item. Can we do that?
So sorry, Liz, to clarify, you're wanting to approve the reduced setback for the storage shed?
I'm not in favor of the application at all, period.
At all?
That would be my vote. But I do not want to put us into a position, I'm not sure in a committee of adjustment what happens when we've got a split vote. So I'm thinking that if we take the two aspects of the application separately, that we'll be able to reach a conclusion. I don't want this to have to come back. I mean, this is the second time, and the applicants deserve a response and to be able to move on with their development.
So I guess the challenge is we do need to make a decision whether to approve the application, which is both minor variances, or deny the application, or approve in part. So it sounds like the resolution that's been read is not going to pass. So I need some direction on what is being approved, or what the committee would like to be approved.
Madam Chair, I think we are required to follow the procedural bylaw of the council in these circumstances, and I unfortunately don't know your procedural bylaw in a lot of detail, but there is an opportunity, and often in procedural bylaws, to split the motion or to divide the motion. A motion can be made to divide the motion on the floor and divide it into two parts, or however many parts. In this case, it would be two parts.
Which is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, so I'm more than happy to move that the motion on the floor be divided into two parts.
Could I have a seconder for that? Thank you. Seconded by Julie Shortreed, that we amend the resolution so that we're voting separately on each part of the application.
Okay, so moved by John Rogers, seconded by Julia Shortreed, be it resolved the Committee of Adjustment hereby partially grants minor variance application AHMV 2220 submitted by McGlade to seek relief from section 4.2.9F of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum projection of a boat port into the water from 8 meters to 12.19 meters for the purpose of constructing a 469.1 square foot boat port, a variance of 4.19 meters. John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Nay.
Okay, so that resolution's carried. And the second one, I guess we'll need a mover and seconder for the second one.
Could we have a mover and a seconder to deal with the storage shed? Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by Chris or John. Would you second the motion?
I don't know what the,
It's to deal specifically with the placement of the storage shed.
I'm not prepared to second it. I would be prepared to move that the recommendation be amended to allow the storage shed.
Me as well.
And Julie is agreeing with Sean's recommendation not to approve the storage shed in its existing location, as am I. So
The resolution should be to allow it, and then you should vote on it.
Yes, I agree.
Can we do that, Sean?
Okay,
Yeah, it seemed like we were doing it in reverse.
Mhm. We would have had a, what do you do after you've got a refused recommendation?
okay, so moved by John Rogers, second by Chris Woods, be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby partially grants minor variance application AHMB 2220 submitted by McGlade to seek relief from section 4.2.9G of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 4.5 meters to 0 meters for the purpose of constructing a 108 square foot utility shed. John Rogers, yea or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yea or nay?
Nay.
Chris Woods, yea or nay?
Yay.
And Liz Danielson, yea or nay?
Nay.
So that's a tied motion, which I believe means it would be defeated.
That's correct. So, in essence, I know that this seems a little confused, Mr. Christian, and honestly, most of our applications do not get split out like this, but in essence, it means you can go ahead with construction of the boat port and not the shed.
Okay.
I'm sure that at some point you can come to a resolution on placement of the shed itself. Keep in mind that you need to have, there is a 20-day appeal period
Mhm.
before any construction starts.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next application, which is Hill on Cushog Lake Road in Stanhope.
This property is located at 2096 Cushog Lake Road. The subject lands are zoned shoreline residential 1 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The property is approximately 1.44 acres in area with 72 meters of frontage on Cushog Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling, a shed, a sleeping cabin, a garage, and a dock. The owner is proposing to construct a 320 square foot addition on the side of the existing dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 14 meters from the high water mark, and the proposed addition will be 14.6 meters from the high water mark. This property was subject to minor variance application AHMB 00417 to reduce the setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 12.4 meters for the purpose of constructing a 336 square foot addition. This application was approved and the addition has since been completed. This new proposed addition will be located on the southerly side of the existing dwelling. The proposed addition will not project beyond the face of the existing dwelling. There does not appear, however, to be any topographical constraints restricting the proposed addition from being moved back to the 15-meter setback requirement. The following minor variance is being requested, and that is from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to reduce the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 14.6 meters for the purpose of constructing a 320 square foot addition. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands. One letter of support was received from an adjacent property owner. No objections have been received, and staff are recommending refusal of the proposed minor variance because there does not appear to be anything restricting the addition from being moved back to the 15-meter setback.
Do any of the committee members have questions for the planner on his report?
Through you, Madam Chair, I don't recall seeing that letter of support in the report. Was it included or?
No, it was received after my report was prepared.
Okay. And is it a lengthy letter or just sort of a short little thing? I support the application.
It's a short letter just supporting
Okay.
the application.
Super. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Do we have someone on the line who wishes to speak to the application?
We do. We're just bringing them in.
Hello, if you could identify yourself and your association with the application. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
It's Kyle Fraser. I'm the nephew of the property owner, grandson of the original property owner, I suppose. And so it's multi-generational property. And over the last couple of years, we made one addition that was noted in the application. And really this is just an extension on that to add more living space to the property with some even more generations that are enjoying it. I think kind of looking back on the process that was undertook initially with that addition a few years ago, it was quite a lengthy process where we actually ended up purchasing the shoreline road allowance as well to make that small addition to the property as well, which really didn't extend much on the initial footprint. We'd actually essentially just replaced the original deck that was on the cottage and enclosed that with the living space. So that, as that was noted in the application, this is extending southward away from the waterfront. Again, within the existing footprint of the property, it is level. The challenge that we have in aligning with the recommendation to the I guess the half a meter setback is that it completely changes the ability to construct the small addition that we're doing and having to redo plans that were created and really kind of upsets the whole the entire ability to utilize the interior space of the property. So it sounds like a very little amount of space from the property's perspective, but it changes fundamentally the addition that we're doing to have to redo it that half meter.
could you just explain for the purposes of the committee what restricts you from moving the addition back by that small amount?
So because of the rooms that are currently existing inside the space, it would limit us both windows to be able to be installed, as I understand from the builder, the contractor, and the hallway that we're doing to connect the rooms within the space. So it would totally change our ability to use the interior space and have to go back to the drawing board from a design perspective. So it would really limit our enjoyment of the property that we've had for going on 45 years or more.
Are there any questions that the committee members have for the applicant's representative?
Madam Chair, I know there are a couple of other folks that are interested in this application, I believe, and wonder if we could hear from them as well before we get into questions, if they wish to speak.
Okay, we can go in that order. I would have given them an opportunity to speak. Is there someone else who wishes to speak to the application?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm the owner, Barbara Hill. It was my parents that built this cottage and has left it to myself. The primary reason for the addition is we really need office space. As you know, most people are working remotely. My daughter is working remotely and can spend all the time up here, but we need a separate space so that they can have some privacy, she and her husband. My nephew as well, who just spoke, he can work remotely. He has 2 young children, so it's very difficult to be able to work from home when you've got kids running around in limited space. And as my nephew had suggested that by putting a hallway into the new addition, if we took that part back the meters that you're suggesting us, that room would be totally unusable. It would be maybe a storage unit. So what we're asking for is a bedroom and an office. And to go back the 0.4 meters would make that existing room totally unusable. I've talked to the designer, and that's more or less what he said. I did go back to him and ask him if he could cut it back. And he said, well, we can, but you won't be able to really use that room. So we're back to where we are starting at, basically.
I see another gentleman on the line. Did you wish to speak to the application as well?
What would happen if you were to set it back another half a meter, it means the existing wall line of the cottage would have a big jog in it, and it's going to make the roof line really difficult, I think. I know they can do just about anything with roofs, but it makes it, I mean, it would destroy the sort of look of the cottage a bit, because it would have an actual jog in the wall. And the second thing is the bedroom. I'm currently sleeping with my 2 grandchildren, and I'm on the top bunk. So we do need more bedroom space.
Are there any questions from the committee members to those who were present representing the application? No questions?
Sorry, through you, Madam Chair, have there been it sounds like there have been floor plans done on this addition, but we haven't as a committee seen those floor plans. Am I correct that there have been some floor plans done?
Yes, there has. They were submitted with the application.
Do you receive floor plans? It seems that a number of the arguments being made are relative to the actual the workability of the interior of the structure as opposed to the exterior placement.
Sean has all of those plans.
No, that's not correct. I have the site plans. I never received any floor plans for the proposed build.
They were submitted. It came from Halliburton Lumber.
I have nothing in my minor variance application file here that would suggest that. So
It is at the township. It has been since, I don't know, September maybe.
I'm just wondering what the best process to follow is. I don't know what the committee's inclination for voting is. Could you tell me when you were planning on starting construction if you were successful?
Well, I originally had a hearing date of October, and Sean came back to me and said he would approve it without committee of adjustment if we took it back the half or the foot back from the original plan. So I had to resubmit. It's all dependent on my contractor. I think he was ready to go in the fall. So I'd have to speak to him. I guess it depends on the weather and whether he can put posts in if the ground's frozen. So I can't really answer that unless I talk to him.
I'd like to hear thoughts from the committee members.
I endorse their move and their application. I am not opposed to it. I think it should be built where they are suggesting it.
Ms. Shortreed?
I will go with Sean's professional recommendation.
And Mr. Rogers?
With what we have in front of us at the moment, my sense is that we go with our planner's recommendation, and I know it may create some issues around the design, but without seeing the floor plans, that's why I was asking about them. I'm not sure how the inside is configured. I'm not sure. Designers are usually pretty good at being able to work out some solutions when they have the challenges placed in front of them. So I think I'd have to go with Sean's recommendation in this case.
Sean, I'm wondering if there are any, other than the fact that the application would have to remain on hold for a little bit, if there's any financial ramifications or any other fees or actions that would need to be taken if we ask for deferral to receive the interior plans so that we can see the challenges that we're hearing about?
There would be no additional costs involved as long as we don't need to recirculate the application, which it doesn't sound like we would need to if it's remaining the same as what's being requested currently.
What's the committee's feeling about deferral?
With that response, Madam Chair, I would move that we defer the application until we have an opportunity to review the floor plans.
Could we have a seconder on that? To defer the application?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so that you would second that resolution to defer the application?
Yes, I would.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just be 1 second crafting that resolution.
Okay. And my apologies to those that are applying to do this for the delay, but I think that you know, it will provide clarity, and you may have a better outcome through deferral than you might if we voted now. I'm sorry, Ms. Hill, you're on mute.
How can I ensure that you have the plans there? They were submitted, two sets of them.
Yeah, so I can guarantee that I do not have a copy in my possession of the plans. I've gone through my files here and can 100% guarantee that. I will check with our building department to see if perhaps they have a copy of it, but
yes, you mentioned that. Yeah, you mentioned that when I came in to see you, Sean, that they were probably, it was all in one package. So it's somewhere at the township office.
Okay, well, I will look into that.
Okay, great. So what's the next step then?
So I will contact you after the meeting and we can discuss that.
Okay, great.
So we will be having a meeting in January and would deal with the application and be able to give you a definitive response at that time.
Okay, thank you very much. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. I guess so we would move on that motion to defer.
Yeah, I've got it here prepared now. So moved by John Rogers, seconded by Julia Shortreed. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby defers minor variance application HMB 02420 pending review of the proposed floor plans. John Rogers, yea or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yea or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yea or nay?
I'm a nay. I'm in favor of them building where they want to build.
My apologies.
And
I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be deferred. I think they should get their application. I don't think the floor plan should come into bearing at all on this. I think it's very unfair of this committee to be doing this.
Well, I can only say, I think if it's the rationale being used by the applicant for approval, I think it's within the committee's right to ask for that information, particularly if it helps them reach a positive conclusion. I'm sorry, Sean, go ahead with the vote.
And Liz Danielson, yea or nay?
Yay.
Motion's carried. The application is deferred.
Okay, the next application has been submitted by Frestaki on Buckslide Road in Stanhope.
This property is located at 4565 Quagama. Oh, excuse me. Got the wrong application. This property is located at 1262 Buckslide Road. The subject lands are zoned rural and designated waterfront under the official plan. The property is approximately 2.81 acres in area with 180 meters of frontage on the Buckslides. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, rural residential, open space, and wilderness. The lands are currently developed with a dwelling, 2 sheds, a dock, and a privy. The owner is proposing to construct a 1,505 square foot addition on the side of the existing dwelling, along with demolishing an existing 158 square foot sunroom and constructing a new 254 square foot sunroom in the same general footprint. The existing dwelling is currently set back 5.8 meters, and the proposed 1,505 square foot addition will be 7.3 meters from the high water mark, and the proposed 254 square foot addition will be 7.7 meters from the high water mark. The proposed addition will be located on the easterly side of the existing dwelling. The proposed addition will not project beyond the front face of the existing dwelling. However, the existing cottage is on a slight angle combined with an irregular shoreline, which results in a lesser setback. The lands are limited in available building locations that would conform to zoning requirements due to topographical constraints and existing site servicing. The owner will require the following minor variances. That is one from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 7.3 meters for the purpose of constructing a 1,505 square foot addition. And the second variance would be from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 7.7 meters for the purpose of constructing a 254 square foot addition. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, and circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands. 2 letters of support were received from adjacent property owners. Again, this was after my report was completed, so they were not attached to my report. No objections have been received. Staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variances, conditional on the following. 1, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed 1,505 square foot addition is not located closer than 7.3 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 2, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed 254 square foot addition is not located closer than 7.7 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 3, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 4, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Are there any questions from the committee members to the planner on his report? I must admit, I was a little bit concerned about the proximity of the addition to the water, but I understand that the further restriction is the septic system that is right behind where the addition is going. So would make it difficult to move the structure further back. Is there someone who wishes to speak to the application? You're on mute.
There we go. Hello.
Hello? If you could identify yourself and your relationship to the application.
Sure. Lanny Dennis, Wayne Simpson and Associates, represent the owners. I think that's a fair and accurate assessment of the proposal presented by the planner, and certainly concur with the planning department to approve the application. There's no issues with respect to the conditions that have been recommended by the township planners. I think maybe just highlight a few merits of the proposal. The area where the 1,500 square foot addition is being located is by and large fairly clear, and I think there'd be minimal tree removal required. Generally speaking, it's a flat level area, which would help minimize any overland flow of sediments towards the watercourse. There's no, in my opinion anyways, no visual impact on the neighbor's property. It's separated by a height of land and a large rock face. There will no visual impact on the public in general. The addition and the building itself is located on a spur, if you will, of the Bouchard River. It's not part of the main water. It's not part of the main water course. Also, in addition to the septic system creating a bit of a hardship for building any further back, I think the lot itself is long and narrow. It's got an irregular shoreline, and I think it creates setback issues no matter where you would build on that property, and probably triggering a variance. And in fact, utilizing sort of the existing location of the building and adding to it would probably minimize the disruption to the lot, rather than starting again with a brand new building footprint elsewhere on the property. By and large, the new additions are located, as Sean had indicated, not coming any closer than the building face, and are further back from the shoreline. In fact, with the 1,500 square foot addition, it sort of splays away from the shoreline, and the setback gets larger. And I think what they've done is an admirable job in terms of trying to utilize the lay of the land to locate their building as best they could to minimize disruption to the property. Looking at the building elevations in the cottage itself, I think that it's well done. It ties into the existing cottage structure, and certainly complements and reflects the natural and, in my opinion, idyllic setting that's on that particular property. The septic system, as noted by the chair, is located behind the addition. And I would respectfully request that committee approve the application. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Davis? Does anyone else wish to speak to the application? You're on mute.
Hi there. My name is Simon Hirsch. I'm the designer and the contractor for the project. Lanny did a great job kind of explaining what we're trying to do there. I don't really have much to add, but to further express that the concept of this whole design was to follow the flow of the river and to sort of fade back away from the existing building. And as Lanny mentioned, we are decreasing our setback from the river and essentially decreasing sort of the impact of the building. Any new construction, on this property with the restrictions of the septic and the nature of the property, obviously we would never want to consider removing or destroying that old cabin. That's why we did this. But any new construction here would result in some form of variance, I feel. So I just want to make it known that I worked with the owners carefully to make sure that we did something that had very low impact to the river and the property.
Does the committee have any questions for Mr. Hirsch? And would the owners wish to speak, or you think that that we've covered it?
I appreciate the opportunity to speak, but I think both Lanny and Simon have covered all of our thoughts and notes well, but thanks for the opportunity to present our application.
Any further comments or questions from the committee members?
I'll move the recommendations, Madam Chair.
I beg your pardon?
I'll move the recommendations.
Okay, moved by John Rogers, seconded by Julie Shortreed.
Moved by John Rogers, second by Julia Shortreed, be it resolved the Committee of Adjustment hereby grants minor variance application AHMV 2520 to seek relief from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 7.3 meters for the purpose of constructing a 1,505 square foot addition, as well as from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 7.7 meters for the purpose of constructing a 254 square foot addition to an existing dwelling, subject to the following conditions. One, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed 1,505 square foot addition is not located closer than 7.3 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Two, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed 254 square foot addition is not located closer than 7.7 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Three, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And four, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
You have your approval. It looks like you've got an exciting project. I wish you best of luck with it, and just remember that there is a 20-day appeal period before any construction can commence.
Thank you. I just also wanted to thank both John and Chris for coming out to site. It was a pleasure meeting both of you, and thanks for the questions and taking the time to come visit the property. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time this afternoon, committee and staff.
Okay, the next item on our agenda has been submitted by Stoughton on Kawagama Lake in the Township of Sherburne. If we could hear your report.
Yes, this property is located at 4565 Kawagama Lake Road. The lands are currently zoned shoreline residential 1 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The property is approximately 0.85 acres in area with 41 meters of frontage on Kawagama Lake. Surrounding uses are generally recreational, commercial, environmental protection, shoreline residential, and rural. The owner is proposing to construct a 1,008 square foot addition on the east side of the existing dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 20.7 meters from the exterior lot line. And the proposed addition will be 9.5 meters from this easterly exterior lot line. The proposed addition will not project beyond the front face of the existing dwelling. The lands are limited in available building locations that would conform to the zoning requirements. There is significant natural vegetation between the proposed development and the exterior lot line, forming an effective natural buffer. This exterior lot line is adjacent to a boundary road allowance that's under joint ownership of the Township of Algonquin Highlands and the Township of Dysart et al. A boat launch is located at the end of this road allowance. The following minor variance is being requested, and that is from table 2 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the exterior side lot line from 12 meters to 9.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 1,008 square foot addition. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, as well as to the Quagma Lake Owners Association. No objections have been received. Staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following two conditions. One, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 9.5 meters from the exterior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And two, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Do any of the committee members have any questions for Sean on his report? Do we have someone on the line who wishes to speak to the application? I think Mr. Stoughton might be present.
Hello. Is
Hello.
everybody there? Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to hear our application for relief of setback from our side yard. Do you guys have any questions that I can speak to directly on this, or?
Are there any questions that the committee members would like to ask the applicant? Hearing none. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak to the application? Okay, hearing none, we will hear, or I guess we.
Oh, sorry, Liz, I think there might be someone that is here.
Okay, sorry.
Hi, it's Margaret Oberg. I am a direct neighbor. And in general, I don't have concerns since the expansion would be towards the other side, like towards the road to the boat ramp. However, in general, I am concerned about the removal of the trees and changes to the natural environment. This property has been already altered a lot within the last few years, and I'm concerned that this change will still change it even more. But I realize that the existing property is quite small, and then the owners may wish to enlarge it. So that's all what I have to add. Thank you.
So could I ask, are you in fact just voicing concern about the trees, or are you in fact objecting to the application?
I am not objecting to the application. I'm voicing concern about the trees, since a number of trees were already recently removed from that property.
Could you speak to that, Mr. Stoughton?
Yes, we have actually quite a few trees on the property that are dead, standing timber. We have several hemlocks. We have a lot of unhealthy infected maples. The property, when we bought it 7 years ago, had a lot of vegetation where we've got a lot of birches with dead tops. There's actually a fairly large amount of trees on site currently right now that are dead, and actually they need to come down. We're going to have an arborist come in, and because a lot of them are overhanging things that are dangerous. So there has been a large amount of trees taken down. All the trees that have been taken down were dead or dying. We have a lot of very unhealthy maples. Almost all of the birch are dead, and we have 3 very, very large standing hemlocks that are dead, that the woodpeckers have just gone through. And when they fall, they're falling over, crushing our fence onto the side of the launch ramp. So there is going to have to be some trees come down, that just purely from a safety factor. We've revegetated our shoreline with native trees, and we've kept everything that's healthy. But yes, correct, for sure, there's been a lot of trees. I don't know why we have so many poor quality trees there. Just the maples and the birch. The birch have all exceeded their lifespan. And the hemlocks, I don't really know what's happened, but there's a lot of dangerous large timber on the property currently right now.
Do the committee members have any questions or concerns that they'd like to voice?
Just wondering, Madam Chair, to Mr. Stoughton, with this addition, do you see any significant removal of healthy trees as needed or at this point, or?
No, whatever it's where the addition is going is largely unpopulated with trees. Forward of there and so towards the lake, there's some birches and maples that have to come out. They're mostly small caliper sized trees, so some are healthy, some are not, maybe stuff that's 3 inches in diameter. The large unhealthy growths are actually behind the cottage going towards the road, and are the most dangerous ones are abutting the launch ramp and behind the cottage to the road.
Okay, thank you.
There's a bunch of pictures that we sent to and we put in our proposal. You guys should have a bunch
We received them.
You got them.
Are there any more questions or anyone else who wishes to speak to the application? Then hearing none, could I have a mover and a seconder to hear the resolution? Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by
Seconded.
John Rogers. Thank you.
Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers, be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby grants minor variance application AHMB 2620 to seek relief from Table 2 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the exterior side lot line from 12 meters to 9.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 1,008 square foot addition, subject to the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 9.5 meters from the exterior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And 2, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. John Rogers, yea or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yea or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yea or nay?
Yay.
And Liz Danielson, yea or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Okay, Mr. Stoughton, you have your approval, and just a reminder about the 20-day appeal period before any construction commences.
Terrific, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, that concludes the items of business that we have for today. Sean has advised me that he has several applications for January for properties that are accessible. And we have deferrals to deal with as well. So we will be having a meeting in January, which would that be on the 29th, Sean?
Yes.
If that works for everybody. Any other comments or questions before we adjourn?
One thing, Madam Chair, just was wondering if Sean, when you do receive letters with respect to an application, would it be possible for you just to send those out, whether they're in favor or against? It would just a quick email forwarding them would be appreciated from my perspective.
Yep.
Or included in the agenda package, and if they're received in time, but otherwise in form of email. That would be
sorry, I meant to say that these would be ones that are received after the reports have been done and after the agendas come out to us.
Point well taken. Any other comments, concerns? Okay, I would like to thank the committee and wish everybody a best of the season, and ask if I could have a mover and a seconder for adjournment.
We can move it.
Okay, by Mr. Rogers and seconded by Julie Shortreed.
Moved by John Rogers, second by Julia Shortreed, be it resolved the Committee of Adjustment hereby adjourns its regular meeting at 2:06 p.m. John Rogers, yea or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yea or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yea or nay?
Yay.
And Liz Danielson, yea or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks again, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
See you next.